What's shakin' bacons? How's it going? So I am posting a Star Wars news / reaction video because guess what? I couldn't talk myself into seeing the Meg. I'm so sorry. You guys are gonna have to forgive me. But you may also notice, check this out. Oh my God. It's a green screen. I'm so freaking excited. I got it thanks to my amazing Patreon supporters. You guys are so awesome. I'm so happy. If you guys are interested in also joining them and supporting me on Patreon, the link is in the description box below. I do post things there that you don't see anywhere else online. You get my raw, unfiltered thoughts on movies. You get my rough notes on things. You get shared items from me. You get some other thoughts sometimes on some Star Wars stuff. You'll get early access to certain things. For example, my Movie Pass video that came out recently, I initially wrote about in full with a full breakdown on my Patreon as an early access item for my patrons. Even just $1 is awesome, and I really appreciate the support. Here's an example of something that you would see on my Patreon. I have a full kind of thought and breakdown on some Star Wars news items that I didn't actually get a chance to film about this past month. And you actually get to see stuff that's behind the scenes. For example, this one went out today, and this is my video process. And so you get to actually see what goes into me making my reviews, how long it takes, how I edit, and all that kind of thing. A huge thank you again to everyone who's been supporting me on Patreon. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, link is below. So let's go ahead and talk about the first look trailer for the Star Wars Resistance. Now, the Star Wars Resistance is being directed by Dave Filoni, who also was behind the Clone Wars and behind Star Wars Rebels. So you know that he's got experience here. Let's take a look at the first trailer for Star Wars Resistance and see what it's all about. All right, here we go. Oh, it's that 2D, 3D hybrid blend style.
This is your chance to make that true.
I've got a mission for you.
Yes!
Definitely targeted toward kids.
To the good guys and who isn't.
What was that?
What was what?
The throwing and the falling. Over there.
Don't think about it.
You can work on my team,
Get ready to be impressed.
but when it comes to your mission as a spy, I don't want anything to do with it.
So they're making the very loud, oblivious kid a spy?
I just wanted to wish my competition good luck.
This is I'm fine.
Just be careful and don't explode.
I'll do my best.
This should be good.
Here we go. Star Wars Resistance in all new series premieres Sunday, October 7th at 10 on Disney Channel.
What? I mean, it's obviously for kids, so I can't really judge it too harshly based on that alone. I just want to put that out there. It looks as though Disney is on board with plugging full speed toward the comedy, toward the haha hee hee. Like, they're definitely intent, it seems, on injecting large amounts of humor into the franchise come hell or high water. At least that's the way I feel about it. Personally, when it comes to the visuals of this series, I have never been a fan of the 2D-ish 3D animation style. It's just not my personal taste visually, although it can be really interesting. I think a really good example of a well-done 2D-ish 3D movie would be A Scanner Darkly. It was implemented very well there because that's a story about a future where this drug is kind of taken over everyone. So you're living in a disjointed reality in this future. You get kind of this disjointed reality visually as well. Whether or not it'll work for that series, I don't know. I'm sure if I was a kid, I wouldn't care. Me, as an adult, knowing what my tastes are, I'm not a big fan of the style. The story seems like it's gonna be a bit of a stretch. Like, I feel, I don't know. Perhaps it's just them going against the tropes of spies being very silent and stoic. I just always feel kind of like spies don't draw attention to themselves. However, I suppose you could argue that the best spy would be one that you would never suspect as being a typical spy. So I mean, I don't know. I definitely think it's targeted toward kids. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. That's the first look at the trailer. Who wants to talk about something else now? Anything else? That was kind of like, it was just a minute long. We don't really know what it's about. Let's move on. A little bit of Star Wars news. Sad for me, I'm sure relief for others. Ewan McGregor was interviewed and he said that he has not heard anything about there being an Obi-Wan spin-off movie. So my reaction to this, first of all, is if they are doing one and it's not starring Ewan McGregor, I am not going to be a happy camper. My second reaction is one of disappointment and relief at the same time. I think Disney has definitely stepped back as they've seen the response that many fans had to The Last Jedi. You know, I think they're going to stay the course with their TV series. I think they're definitely reevaluating how they're approaching the movies themselves. Another bit of news for those of you who know how much I love Padme Amidala is that there is actually going to be a new Padme novel coming out, which is around the same time setting-wise as when she stepped down from being queen, because on Naboo they elect their queens. So it's when she was transitioning from queen to her next life and her role in the Senate. And I think if you are somebody who doesn't mind the politics of episode 1 and 2 and 3 to an extent, that this will probably be a very interesting read. And we actually get to see more to Padme's character. That's something that has bothered me about Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Padme is greatly diminished, at least on the film, on the big screen, as she was in The Phantom Menace. And we all know she's built up as being much more capable than what she displayed. And there's definitely a dichotomy of character that appears in Attack of the Clones. And I discussed that in my Attack of the Clones revisit review, which you guys should check out. If you haven't seen it yet, I actually spent a lot of time on that. It took a while to come out. I was really practicing my editing skills. I was super happy with it. So if you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. But I'm really excited to see a new Padme novel coming out. It's being written by E.K. Johnston, who is also the author of Ahsoka. Hopefully this will be a very good book. I think I'm going to be definitely watching it for its release. I'm excited to read this one. I really am. The last bit of news we've got today is that there's a rumor floating around the interwebs that the title for episode 9 has come out, and it is strongly, very much so strongly, just a rumor that the title of episode 9 is going to be Star Wars: A New Order. Granted, it's a Reddit-based rumor, although it's popped up in other places, right? So you can't fully depend on this being a fact. We've heard lots of Star Wars rumors. We don't know if it's true or not. A New Order has a lot of implications, though, right? It could mean the New Order underneath Kylo Ren. It could mean a new order overall for how the Force is perceived and manipulated and used and felt by Force users. It could be a new order not even tied into either of those things, but it could be people rising up. Heck, Broom Kid could be coming in, flying on his broom with some Jedi telekinesis somehow, because I guess there's no limits at this point to Force powers. We don't really know. I think there's a lot of possibilities with this title. It's definitely open for interpretation. It leaves a little more questions than answers, which is a good thing, I think, actually, because at this point we need some mystery. It's definitely a callback to A New Hope. So hopefully it's not just another repeat like we've received from the first J.J. Abrams film. Anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing week, an amazing weekend so far. I hope you are enjoying your summer. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later.